Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I'm participating in the encouragement card hop that Courtney Krieber has organised. You can find all the details you need for the hop in the description box below, and I will, if I have a chance, talk about it a bit later in the video, but the link to the next stop on the hop is also down there, so make sure to check that out after you've watched the video. So for my encouragement card, I'm starting with the Calm and Loving stamp set from Casual Fridays, and I have lined up the trunk and branch part of the tree as well as one of the sentiments which says "You are strong" onto my card base, and I'm using my Misty to help me stamp those out using Catherine Pooler Twilight Ink, which is a nice grey ink. I'll then shift the card base up to the top of the Misty. I wanted to leave my stamps in place because I wasn't sure exactly how this technique I'm doing is going to work out, so I wanted to keep them there lined up in case I ended up needing to restamp everything. The card base does come just below where the top of that tree stamp reaches, so I made sure to cover the bottom of my card base with a piece of scrap paper so that I wouldn't be getting any mess from that other stamp onto my card. I then lined up the heart portion of this tree over the branch area, and I'm going to stamp that with Barely Beige ink from Simon Says Stamp. I usually use this ink if I'm doing no line colouring, for example, and I thought it would be appropriate for what I wanted to do here on this card. So I will just stamp that down and it gives a very light impression. I actually think there was some ink left from whenever I last used this stamp because there's a little bit of yellow to the hearts as well, but it really doesn't matter what colour they are because they're all going to be covered up. So on to the main technique of this video, which is Nuvo Drops. Nuvo Drops most often get used as embellishments on projects, but I had this idea a while ago of using them more as the focal point, and I thought this stamp worked really well for that. So I decided that this hop would be a good opportunity to finally get round to giving the idea a go. So I'm going to start by filling in the largest hearts. So there's 5 large hearts in the arrangement, and I'm using 2 colours of Nuvo Drops for all my hearts. The purple is Wisteria Purple, and that's a crystal drop, and it has a kind of silvery sheen to it. And then I'm also using Bubblegum Blush, which is another crystal drop. And as I said, I filled out the largest ones first, just to get an idea of the spacing of the colours, and then I will go in and fill out all of the smaller ones as well. And I am trying to space the colours quite evenly so there aren't any large clumps that are just one colour. But of course, with there only being 2 colours, there's no way you can do them without having 2 the same colour next to each other in some places. There are places where I have several of the same colour next to each other but still not a large clump. I wanted to make sure both colours were kind of evenly represented, I guess, across the whole canopy of the tree. As I chose to use crystal drops, the colour of the stamping underneath actually doesn't matter too much because the crystal drops are opaque, so you shouldn't be able to see the stamping underneath. I thought it would be best to use something pale just in case any of that stamping did show through so that it wouldn't be super obvious. Adding the Nuvo Drops in the heart shape is fairly straightforward. I actually did it 2 different ways. I tried doing as if I'm drawing a V, and then I also tried doing it that I would do one half and then the other half, starting at the top each time. And they both work, and I didn't take too much time about doing them. Probably they would have been a bit neater if I was a bit slower at it, but I didn't want to spend too long on making it, and I was also more interested in seeing how the technique works than getting it absolutely perfect. And of course it's a homemade card, so nobody's expecting it to be completely perfect. You could of course do this with any combination of colours you like, depending on the look you're going for. The colours I chose were actually based on the current colour challenge over at My Favourite Things, but you could do greens to make it look more like an actual tree. You could use reds and pinks because they're hearts. You could even do it rainbow coloured if you want. If you like, you could use the jewel drops instead of the crystal drops, although as they're translucent you might want to pay a bit more attention to the colour of ink you're using underneath. because that will show through the jewel drops you use. There's any number of ways you could approach this, and I'm sure there are other stamps that would work just as well for this technique. As I said, I'm doing the MFT colour challenge with this, so I also needed to bring in a bit of red, or I believe they called the colour persimmon. So I stamped a heart next to my sentiment with Festive Berries ink, and I'm going to go over that with Strawberry Coulis jewel drops to give that the same dimensional effect as the other hearts have. And once I am happy with that, I set my card base aside to dry for a while. It was a very hot day when I made this, so it didn't actually take too long until they'd set up, but it is a good idea to leave them for 24 hours to dry. That's what it recommends on the bottle. But that completes my encouragement card that I have made for this encouragement hop. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do press the like button to let me and YouTube know that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used Nuvo Drops as a focal point on your projects. Don't forget that the link to the next stop on the hop is in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. You can also find a link to my blog post and to the products used in this video there as well. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe by clicking my logo that's showing on screen now, and there are a couple of other videos showing there as well, which you might want to watch if you'd like to see more from me. Otherwise, I'll thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!